Can I hang out with you?
That guy just stole my car, so
Where'd he go? Newport Coast? Huh? Can I hook up with you?
It's the shocking story of a man arrested and charged for harassing and pepper spraying women and then posting videos of these encounters online. Los Angeles County Public Defender Philip Dubay comes on to discuss. What a wild story we want to get into right now out of California. A man named Johnny Devin Young has been arrested and faces multiple felony charges after allegedly running from authorities since May. Why? What has he done? Who is he? Well, he is accused of sexually harassing and pepper spraying women. In fact, he reportedly posted videos of him doing this on his YouTube.
For you.
The cops are coming right
Why would you call the cops on me, bro? I'm just speaking.
It doesn't matter.
You little void. Oh, you little. Whoa, what's wrong with you? Chill out. Chill out. Hey, chill out. Chill out. Chill out. You just kicked me in the balls. You back up.
Now, Young is reportedly a self-described incel, and an incel, according to the Orange County District Attorney's Office, when they announced his arrest, they said an incel stands for involuntary incelibate, is a member of an online community of men who exhibit their sexual frustrations by voicing their misogynistic views against women. This is a story unlike one I've ever covered, so I got to talk about this, and I'm joined right now by Los Angeles County Public Defender Philip Dubay, who is appearing in his personal capacity. Philip, always good to see you. You're a frequent member on Law&Crime Network. Now you're here on Sidebar. Good to see you, Philip.
Hey, how are you, Jesse?
I am good. So this man faces 4 felony counts of assault with great bodily harm. He faces 4 counts of illegal use of tear gas, 4 felony enhancements for the personal use of a deadly weapon, 8 felony hate crime enhancements, and 5 misdemeanor counts of violation of civil rights. You don't have to be a lawyer to know that's not good. What is your initial impression of these charges?
That they're overfiled. We're in the Me Too movement. We're in the era of the National Organization for Women, and we want to go after these guys as best as we can and just throw the book at them. But the practical reality of it is, Jesse, is that tear gas is not a deadly weapon. It may cause some discomfort, obviously, and it is illegal. You can only possess tear gas for a lawful purpose. And by the way, tear gas is defined under California law as any type of liquid, gaseous, or even solid substance that can provide temporary discomfort. But it is not a deadly weapon. What is it really? Well, it might be an assault with force likely to cause injury. So, for example, if you spritz somebody with the pepper spray or the tear gas and they kind of lose their footing, they fall down and they make a face plant and they get hurt, that arguably could be a felony. But to say that they were assaulted with a deadly weapon, I think is a bridge too far, in my opinion.
Well, the problem is in one of the videos that I saw is this woman's yelling at him. He's backing up. He says, chill out, chill out. She hits him. And then he decides, not quite when the hitting's happening, but he decides to take out the pepper spray and spray her. It seemed unjustified. It seemed like a use of that he didn't need to use it. There's a reason we have this on the books, these kinds of laws. You think he has a way of defending it? I mean, you say it's overcharged, but if those charges stick, can he fight against it? Because it seems pretty straightforward that he shouldn't have done it.
Well, the problem is that California never actually criminalized the use of pepper spray during the commission of an assault. So it sounds like the Orange County prosecutors are trying to find a creative way to stick him with a bunch of felony strike offenses by calling them assaults with a deadly weapon. The real problem here is our legislature. The way the statute is written right now, there's no real way to get him unless you can find creative ways to craft a criminal complaint against the guy. And I understand why they did it, because they want to put it to a stop. And trust me, this is the kind of case that will resolve. And they throw in the kitchen sink to try to, put his feet to the fire and scare the daylights out of him and squeeze a plea out of him. This will never go to trial.
You don't think this is going to go to trial? Because let me tell you, the Orange County District Attorney Todd Spitzer said no one should have to live in fear that they could be indiscriminately attacked and then publicly humiliated on the internet because of their gender. This behavior is disgusting, and the celebration of this behavior by like-minded individuals is completely unacceptable. These charges send a very strong message to that entire community that we will not tolerate violence against women in any form. As I mentioned, he was hit with hate crime enhancements. Do you see this as a hate crime? Because you could argue that he's specifically targeting women and coming up to them and saying offensive things in vulgar language, and he's starting these interactions and specifically targeting women. Do you think that's an overcharge?
No, actually, I think it's pretty righteous. And I think the facts are there and the charge is actually appropriate. The question is, though, what is the actual crime itself? The hate crime allegation is an enhancement. And I don't mean like a flavor additive. An enhancement is just that. It's where the prosecution has to prove certain facts where certain circumstances existed at the time of the crime to increase the penalty, the prison sentence. And what they're trying to do is attach the hate crime allegation to assault with a deadly weapon. And in my opinion, I don't think they can make it out. I just truly believe it's a simple assault.
Really? Because I would say if you're going to have a case where you're saying we're going to classify this as a hate crime, the way that he's targeting women. Now, thankfully, this is not a case where he, was killing women or kidnapping women. But this was a case where he's approaching them and harassing them, and in certain cases using this pepper spray. I would think that this is one that might stand.
Well, when you look at the plain language of our assault statute, it's Penal Code Section 245. It can be charged two ways: that a defendant actually assaulted another person with a deadly weapon, such as a knife, a firearm, or maybe a billy club, or maybe even just pistol whip somebody. That is clearly a deadly weapon. You can do tremendous, great bodily injury. The other way to file an assault charge in California is where you use force in a manner that's likely to cause great bodily injury. Well, if you spritz somebody with a little pepper spray, what could possibly cause great bodily injury? It is temporary
To their
discomfort.
eyes. To their eyes. That can cause significant injury?
I think it's doubtful. I think it's temporary discomfort, and that's the reason why they manufacture tear gas. It's not to make somebody go blind. It's designed to temporarily incapacitate somebody so that they can make an apprehension. Initially, tear gas and mace were created as a law enforcement tool and not for people to go around and commit crimes.
Well, you had mentioned something to me before we were coming on air. The fact, and I'll read this from the report, is that authorities believed he might have been headed to Las Vegas or San Diego in a Chevy cargo van that had a green stripe, and he nicknamed it the rape van. So the idea that he luckily didn't have, if there was ever a circumstance where he took someone or enticed someone to go into the van, he could have faced a lot more serious charges.
Let
Right?
me just tell you, if he dragged anybody into that van, I don't care who it is, male, female, child, grandparent, with the intent to rape, that is a kidnap for rape. And under California law, that carries life imprisonment per victim. So he could have gone away pretty hard. But right now, as charged, his max is only 13 years.
Only 13 years. I mean, do you think it's going to be 13 years? Where do you think, let's say, so you said you don't think this is going to go to trial. You think that this is going to be a plea deal? You think the government would accept a plea deal here?
Oh, sure, of
Not a
course.
plea deal, but yeah.
No, they're going to always make an offer to settle the case. I mean, if you think about it, what if the offer were just the max? We want him to plead out and take 13 years. Why would anybody accept that? You go to trial. It's a free trial. You got nothing to lose. It's almost as if somebody is suing you for $10 million and, they want to make a settlement offer of $10 million. Why would you give somebody 10 million? You'd rather give it to a jury. You got nothing to lose. Same principle applies in criminal. It's a free trial ultimately if the prosecutors are seeking the maximum punishment as a settlement option. It makes no sense. The whole idea of settling, Jesse, is for both sides to be gnashing their teeth at the bargaining table. When they walk away, there's some sense of satisfaction, but not 100%.
So real quick, you think he's going to spend time behind bars? You just, what do you
Oh,
think? How long would it be?
oh yeah. He's going to be the next temporary Birdman of Alcatraz.
So let me ask you this. I mean, he's a self-described incel. He has these videos on his YouTube page. People have been wondering, what's his motive here? What was he trying to do? Was it really trying to, I don't know, trying to entice women, or was it to harass them, and not really to try to, be with them in a sexual sense, but really just trying to, I don't know, send a message of some kind? I mean, because this term incel has come up recently a lot in our nomenclature, and I'm curious what you think about it. And when you watch these videos and you see him, what we should be thinking about here.
Well, first of all, I would have him seen by the psych. I would have him worked up to find out if there's any underlying psychopathy going on where he needs medication. For all we know, seriously, maybe he's seeing the Antichrist or hearing voices every time he does this. But let's just assume for argument's sake he's not. I think there's an argument to be made that what he's doing is sort of a kinky fetish. It's not designed to lash out against women as the object of his hatred, but rather he kind of gets off from it. It gives him a thrill. So if you think about it, if something gives you a thrill and it gives you kicks, is it really an act of hate? I'm not sure. And I think that could be his defense. It's albeit weak, but at least it's something to say should the case not settle and it goes to a jury.
Just so I understand, you're saying if the goal was not because he has this hatred towards women, but to maybe send a message, if he was trying to make a political, societal message for approaching these women and saying the things that he was saying, if he said something, for example, the reason I use this language with these women is not because I actually meant what I was saying, but I'm trying to make a point here. Is that a defense?
Why not? Remember, it's not his burden to prove each element of the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. One of the aspects of the hate crime allegation is that it's done actually out of hate. What if it's done really out of titillation, out of some type of creepy, weird fetish type desire? That's not hate. If anything, it's almost like an act of eroticism, if you really think about it. And does that mean that you hate the person? No, you might not like the way he goes about getting attention from women. And certainly anybody who's on the receiving end of it might consider it to be a hateful act. But you have to get into his head at the time of the crime, not the victim's head, to determine whether or not it was rage or hate fueled.
I think what what I think the Orange County District Attorney's Office is really trying to do is deterrence here, right? They don't want copycat people because and by the way, I don't think he had a massive following, but there could have been somebody who did. And these are videos that we're seeing, and I think their main goal is deterrence now.
Of course, look, I had read somewhere that he put all these videos out on YouTube. They don't call it the World Wide Web for no reason. They call it that because the entire world has access to these videos. And when you have young, impressionable people watching this stuff, they might too get a kick out of it and think it's kind of fun and try to pull it themselves, even though it's illegal. So you need somebody like the district attorney to step in and say, not so fast, not under my watch. If you pull this, you're going to prison.
Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Philip Dubay, thank you so much for coming on to Sidebar.
Thank you, Jesse. Be well.
And thanks so much, everybody, for joining us here on Sidebar. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. We'll speak to you next time.